Hey guys, welcome to this week's review of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So, basically, all that happened this episode is the ladies being like, Erica's an effing liar, right? So, I think the episode starts off with the ladies kind of having this meeting about Erica because they're like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? Erica's an effing liar. All these things have been coming out with her husband stealing from widows, burn victims. He's the absolute worst, right? And I feel like, to be honest with you, I don't feel like most of these ladies, let me be real, I don't think they really care. They're more concerned. You can see the wheels turning in their head, that they're more concerned about, oh my gosh, what is the audience gonna think of us, right? Because this cast has got a bad rap, right? From previous seasons of doing this thing where all of them come together and they gang up on one person, right? Last season it was Denise. The season before that it was Lisa Vanderpump. The season before that I think it was the whole Pantygate, and then Dorit was getting it. So they just have this habit of going after one person, and the audience, I'm sick of it, right? I'm completely over it. So I think they don't want to fall into the same pattern, right? But I feel like in any situation, like of all those situations, if you're gonna do a gang up, this would be the situation, right? I don't think the audience is gonna be like, oh my gosh, you guys are so mean and terrible for going after Erica after she stole from orphans. Everybody would be on your side right now, right? But they're just thinking about, oh my gosh, how are we going to handle it? Because I'm not buying it. The only one that I can maybe believe is truly friends with Erica Jane. I'll give Lisa Rinna that. I'll give her that trophy, right? Of maybe perhaps being somewhat real friends with Erica Jane. But the T is that Erica Jane actually gave Lisa Rinna $5 million, okay, to start her makeup line. So, I mean, I'm not saying that they're not real friends, but I am saying Lisa Rinna does have, personal interest in protecting Erica Jane. Because Lisa Rinna, out of all the ladies, is that girl that every season wants everybody to own it, right? Want everybody to speak their truth. But when it comes to Erica Jane, who has done, okay, I don't know what she knows or what she doesn't know, right? But she is associated with some pretty effed up crap, right? The fact that Lisa went harder on Denise for allegedly sleeping with somebody. Like, at the end of the day, who really cares if she slept with somebody or not? Is that a crime? The only person that would care about that situation is Denise Richards' husband. But other than that, it's not a crime. Yet you have someone that's sitting on this cast that has been accused of, right, committing a legit crime, criminal, could face jail time, has stole money from orphans, burn victims, cancer patients, right? Who has bragged about living this expensive lifestyle here, and you have nothing to say. You want to protect her. It's the hypocrisy for me. But of course, I guess if someone gave you $5 million, you would shut your mouth, right? Because I don't know, like all the ladies besides, now a lot of people have been going up for Sutton, right? And I was gonna go up for Sutton too. I may still go up for Sutton, depending on how the following episodes pan out. But I'm sorry, Sutton did not do enough for me this episode. I'm gonna say it, right? Only because at the beginning of this episode, she comes in. She's the one that brought all the ladies together. She's the one who had the most to say. Her and Dorit, the both of them, right? To me, they're both in the same category. Sun is a little bit worse. Not Sun. Dorit is a little bit worse. But they're both in the same category for me of people that have a lot of shit to say, but when it comes face to face, it's like they're like, I was just, wonder, I don't know, maybe that you are, did you, It's like, it's just, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but that as an audience member, it's just very frustrating to watch, right? I mean, Garcelle, like the last couple of episodes, I got into her because I felt like you have been the one that's like, you know what? Erica Jane has been lying. She has not been consistent with her stories. But when you came face to face with Erica Jane, it's like you want to pretend that you care about her and you're her best buddy. That's annoying to me. But I'm going to give it up to Garcelle this episode because she said what the audience was saying and she was consistent. And I like how at that meeting at the beginning of the episode, Garcelle was quiet. I noticed that Garcelle did not say absolutely anything at all. She just sat there and she watched everybody talk their crap. But when she came in front of Erica, she said what she had to say. Right near the end of the episode, when they were all at this Christmas dinner, right? And they were confronting Erica. She said to Dorit, "You were talking a lot of crap, and it sounds very different from what you're saying now. And Erica, it's not about you, it's about the victims. And if Tom did what he did, F Tom, right?" She just said it direct. And that's what we want. That's what we want as an audience, right? Like, if you're gonna be Erica's friend, be consistent in being Erica's friend. If you're gonna be against Erica, be consistent with being against Erica. Don't do this flip-flopping thing. I just don't understand. I don't know if they're so concerned about their image or they're terrified by Erica Jane. I don't understand. I don't understand why they're so afraid of her. Now, I'm not gonna lie, she did look pretty scary in that dinner. She did look pretty creepy, right? And I can understand if someone's going through something, you don't want to pile on, right? But this is not like, if this was a crime and there was no victims, right? If they just took money from the government, I mean, it still would be bad because people pay taxes, and oddly enough, the rich people, they're the one who don't pay the appropriate amount of taxes. Is actually middle income people that are paying the majority of the taxes. So even if you're stealing from the government, I mean, there's still victims in that. But you're stealing from orphans. And it's not like Erica was like, oh my gosh, let me do a charity, let me donate my earrings to them, let me do what I can do. You know, she's not even like saying, oh my gosh, these victims, I feel sorry for them, this is so terrible, blah blah blah. She's just all about woe is me. Oh my gosh, I'm in my small little house. Her 10,000 square feet house. She's calling her small little house. Okay, I'm exaggerating. It's not 10,000 square feet, but I think she's paying $10,000 a month for that place, right? I don't even think she's really paying that because she's renting from her friends. Actually, I think there are Tom friends, right? But whatever, $10,000 a month. Some people don't even make $10,000 a year. You have a pool, you have a walk-in closet, you have multiple rooms, you have this beautiful home, which a lot of people would, okay, I want to say they would die for, but it's an expression, okay? They would die for, right? You have this beautiful home, and yet you're going on as if it's like this tiny little thing. And I know in comparison to what you were living in, it is tiny. But for you not even to have like the the intelligence to be like, oh my gosh, how is that going to sound? Right? I think she knew what was gonna come out. And for you to just be like, oh, I'm so poor now. I have nothing. It's just absolutely ridiculous to me. And I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt, but Garcelle called her out right. You are still protecting Tom because you want to say, "Oh, he fell off a cliff." Right? He was unconscious for 12 hours. He broke his entire body, right? And lo and behold, it has come out that there's no records, right? There's no records of this crash. Nothing. You mean to tell me you break every bone in your body, right? There's no hospital records, there's no nothing. That's a little weird to me. And why would that be hidden? Why? Right? It's just, I can go on and on and on. But we already know there's so many inconsistencies, right? But Crystal, gotta give it to Crystal and Garcelle. Crystal was like, well, I mean, this has been going on for more than 3 years. And then Erica at the dinner, she has to say, well, it must 3.5 years, 4 years. By next episode, she's going to be saying, oh, well, the crash happened 6 years ago, right? She's just going to keep extending it and extending it and extending it. If you were smart, you would have said, well, I noticed a decline 10 years ago, but that would have looked really shady, right? I guess that's not believable. But it's very clear that Erica is trying to assign the decline of Tom Girardi's cognitive abilities to the reason as to why he has scammed all these people, when this has been going on long before Erica Jane, right? So it's pretty much irrelevant. Why even bring it up? I mean, yes, of course, say it once, say it twice, but why even bring it up at that point, at that table? Why even bring it up again? Because clearly it has nothing to do with that. Hell, I mean, it could be true. He could be having dementia right now, but that doesn't take away from what he's done, right? And at the table, they're talking, I think, Sutton brought up the whole $20 million. Like, if someone puts $20 million into your business, how do you not know what's going on? Like, how do you not know where that money is going to or whatever, right? And then, of course, an article comes out kind of breaking down where that money went to. And that money went towards her business, right? Now you could say, I mean, this is the thing. I just feel like she knows where that money went because she spent it. Now, did she know where that money was coming from? Did she say, Tom, hey, $20 million is a lot of money, right? That's a bit excessive. Where did you get that money from? I don't think Erica Jane is asking that question. Obviously, she's just taking the money and spending it, right? I mean, she definitely got with him because he could provide this lifestyle for her. And if he's providing this lifestyle, is she really gonna ask where it came from, right? Is she really gonna say, this doesn't really make a sense, you're just a lawyer? I mean, lawyer makes lots of money, but do they make that much money? That seems a bit excessive, right? Of course she's not gonna say that. Of course, she's just gonna spend her money. She had her private jets and all that jazz. She's gonna do what she's gonna do. Now, I mean, is she personally responsible? Like, for you guys, I'll ask you guys, comment down below. If you were in a relationship, right, with someone super wealthy and they give you $20 million, are you gonna ask them where they got the money from? Or are you just gonna take it and spend it and be like, okay, whatever, my partner's rich and that's what it is? I mean, I guess, but if you asked me, if you had asked me this before this whole thing went down, I may have told you something else. But now, really, as I get older and I'm seeing how the world works, I don't know. You can't just be that naive. You can't be. You have to kind of know that this is not right. This is a little like $20 million. You're just gonna give me $20 million for me to kind of fool around, right? To kind of get dressed up like Barbie. You're gonna give me $20 million to do that? That's just crazy. And especially with all that's going on in the world, Haiti, prayers out to Haiti. They just had an earthquake. All those people like just lost their homes, crumbled, gone, finito, nothing, done. And and the fact that some people in the world would take $20 million just to get their hair done, just to wear fancy clothes, and to get their makeup and play Barbie. And do what? Really, really do what with that money, right? When, like, not even a quarter of that money could give somebody a home, could give someone food in their belly, right? To live a life where they're not struggling. The world is messed up. It really is messed up. It really is. And the fact that Erica can't even just, I know maybe she's getting legal advice to not, I guess for her to show remorse for the victims would be admitting guilt in some way. So I don't know if her lawyers are advising her to not say anything at all, right? Or not donate any money, because then it's going to look like she's guilty. So she kind of just wants to be the victim in this whole thing. I don't know. But for her to just not say anything, and it has to be Garcelle to bring it up. And then when Garcelle brings it up, she's like, oh, well, if Tom is found guilty of this, it's like, you can tell she has her legal hat on. She's not really present. She's not really caring about them. She's caring about herself. And to me, that's what makes her guilty in my book. I've come to that conclusion. I could be wrong, but I've come to that conclusion because I think if you were sincerely in that situation, like, I can totally understand. Everybody makes mistakes, right? And I could totally understand if you're married to a rich person and they're just giving you money. You take the money, you don't say anything, you spend the money, fine, right? But once you find out potentially, right, where this money has been coming from, the fact that you don't feel sick to your stomach, right? The fact that you're like, oh my gosh, what did I do? Garcelle brought it up. Like, you don't seem mad at him. You're still trying to protect him. The fact that she's still trying to protect this person, it just screams guilt to me. It just screams complicit to me at this point. It just screams like, if you didn't know what he was doing before, you definitely know what he's doing now, and you have struck some sort of deal with him. It's very, very obvious that he has some money hidden offshore somewhere. Of course he has money hidden offshore. You don't have $80 million, and everybody's like, where's the $80 million? Where did it go? And like, nobody knows. Like, I'm not buying that you spend all that money, right? I'm not buying that at all. They definitely have money hidden offshore, and I'm pretty sure that Tom has some sort of arrangement with her. Like, you cover me, you protect me as much as you can, and I will cover you financially, right? It like, she just doesn't, she's just, I mean, at the end of the day, you can't really say how someone is supposed to react in this situation, but it's just screaming that she has some sort of deal with him right now. She does, and I think that she's screwing over herself. I don't think she handled this very well. Like, if you're trying to scam people or scam the audience and get us to believe that you're innocent, she's doing an absolute terrible job. But we're gonna see how this unfolds. Going back to the going back to the ladies, I just like, if this was Real Housewives of Atlanta, if this was Real Housewives of New York, if this was Real Housewives of Potomac, right? if this was even Real Housewives of Orange County. Real Housewives of New Jersey, I don't know, because if it was Teresa, I think the ladies would be treating Teresa like they're treating Erica Jane, to be honest with you, right? Because, but then with Real Housewives of New Jersey, it makes more sense for them to treat Teresa with kid gloves because Teresa is kind of like the show. If we're gonna be real, she's the star of the show. She was there from the beginning. She's an OG. So that kind of makes sense for them to kind of treat Teresa with kid gloves and not really, go in it with her. But with Erica Jane, I just really don't get it. I don't get it at all why they're so afraid of her. Yet behind her back, especially Kyle is so fake, right? But I can stand Kyle a little bit because, I don't think necessarily that Kyle is afraid of Erica Jane. I think that Kyle is just, she has her producer's hat on, right? And I can understand where they don't want to push Erica too much because they definitely want Erica to come back because they definitely want to have a scene. They want to have a good season as well. So they kind of want to prod Erica just a little bit to get the bit of information, but they don't want to chase her away. That's how I feel like Kyle is, right? She's trying to be delicate to get the information. She's still fake, but I can stand her a little bit. I can stand one or two fake people, but the whole cast being fake is annoying to me. Like Dorit being hella fake. Like Dorit had the. I think Dorit had more to say than Sutton, to be honest, at that meeting. But then when Sutton gets in front of Erica, she's like, "Oh, we care about you. You're our friend." And it's like, shut up, Dorit. She's so annoying, and I'm glad Garcelle called her out. And I just feel like, I think I said it before, if it weren't for the Erica thing, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills would be in big trouble. They would be. They would have absolutely nothing going on. They're so cliquish. They're so like, oh my gosh, we all have to be on the same page. We all have to go after one person. It's just so annoying. I think as I was saying before, like the other like Real Housewives of Atlanta, Real Housewives of Potomac, I feel like, yeah, of course, at sometimes you do get the majority of the cast kind of siding one way or another, but you still get to feel like everybody has their own opinion and they're not afraid to say what they have to say. Like, I almost wish there was a Giselle Bryant in Beverly Hills, right? Because if Giselle was on the cast, that Giselle would just be straight up and she wouldn't be afraid of Erica Jane and she would just say how she felt. And we need that a little bit more. And we're starting to get that with Garcelle. We're starting to get that with Sutton, even though I think Sutton needs to give me a little bit more, right? Crystal needs to give me a little bit more, right? Kathy is sort of, making one comment here and there, but I'm not going to expect anything from Kathy because she's the friend of the show, so it's like, okay, whatever. But I just wish they were more firm in how they're feeling. That's all I'm saying. Just be more firm in it. And I guess they don't know how things are going to play out, but the audience is definitely here for people really calling out Erica Jane. One thing I'm going to bring up, Kyle is so annoying. She wants to make people believe that she cooks everything herself, yet the camera is showing us 3 people in the kitchen helping her. Like, you can't say you cook everything yourself when I'm looking at 3 people in the kitchen cooking, right? Now you could say you were the head chef, you could say this was your recipe, but for her to go on like she did everything herself is just so obnoxious to me. And this is not the first time she's done this. I don't know if it was last season. She wanted to act like she cooked stuff herself, or she was gonna cook, and they had the chef. I think it was earlier this season, right? They had the chef, right? And Kyle was like, oh, I'm gonna cook. But then it was just pretty much her bossing the hired chef around. So it's like, at this point, why not just have the chef cook the meal versus you bossing the chef around, telling them what to do, and then pretending like you're the one who cooks the meal. I don't know if it's this season. I haven't really watched Beverly Hills from the beginning. I don't know if cooking is really Kyle's thing, but I don't know. Is Kyle trying to come out with a cookbook or something? Is she trying to get known as the cooking girl? Right? Is she trying to sell some frozen dinners? I don't know what it is with Kyle, with trying to kind of come off like she's cooking everything herself while having other people do the work. It's just really obnoxious. It's like, just be honest with it. You know, like Kyle, not Kyle, Kathy. You could tell Kathy is obviously very privileged, but I guess what I can respect about Kathy, she doesn't try to hide it. It's pretty, she puts it out there and she owns it. And I wish Kyle would do that. Like, what are you doing? You look silly at the end of the day. Um, anyways, did I miss anything? And if I did, I don't think it was that important. I am definitely looking forward to next week's episode. That's everything, guys. Bye.